I thought I'd do another walkthrough of it in the same way that I did a walkthrough of 027 after I had it, just to show you what I've got. It's basically the same. There's a few little things I've done differently, and after some recent fiddling I'm very pleased with it, so I thought I'd show you how I have it set up. Starting at the front then, this bit I'm not so pleased with. I've got a kind of block and tackle arrangement on the front just to put some tension in it. That again, as before, I don't really know how much tension I do run, but it's a reasonable amount, as in things don't wobble around too much. We have a ping to them. I put this on it because that's what I had to start with. As you may remember, on 807 I had just a strop and a adjustable chain plate to peg it in depending on what tension I ran, which worked really well, but you do have to have the sort of a boat breaker to let you rig it, which isn't so good. In this format I've kind of got the boat breaker, if you like, in front of the boat, which again is sort of simpler but looks messy and it's more to go wrong and stuff. I might give in and just put a high field lever on it, like I think Mike fits to them as standard. Just because it's simpler. I just don't like all the metal work hanging off the front of the boat, really. But anyway, this works. Does the job at the moment. I found, as we move backwards, that the mast foot on this wasn't in quite the same place as it is on 807, and I couldn't get the foot of my mast as far forward as I wanted, so I've cut a small amount off the front of the foot, so it's now a bit smaller to let me get it in about the right place. I've tweaked other things since then, so whether that's actually as necessary as I thought it was, I spent a while struggling to get the boat to go like I wanted it to, and that was just one of the many things I changed as I went. So whether that's necessary, I don't know. The kicker, you might be able to see I have a big shackle going through one of the holes on the mast foot. Then the kicker is on a block, which is on its own block, which spins around that shackle, and seems to work quite nicely. It kind of maintains a constant tension on the kicker, or pretty much a constant tension on the kicker wherever, whatever position the boom's at. On 807, because the mast foot was further forward, I had an extra pin here and I could run a strop all the way around. Couldn't do that obviously on this one, so that's what I came up with and seems to work. If I go around the other side, the other extra block I have on here, I like my Cunningham to have a 6-to-1 purchase, so I have a hook on the top of it, and then I have an extra block down here, so my control line comes through the normal position up there to a floating block, as you might have had anyway, but rather than that block just go through the sail and down to give you your kind of 4-to-1, my one goes through a block that's on the hook, down through the turning block that's on the deck, and then back off and ties off on the hook, which gives me kind of an extra 3, so I get 3 there, 3-to-1 on that, plus the 2-to-1 on the control line gives me my 6-to-1. It gives me that little bit more power than the normal 4-to-1, but lets you get the full range of travel in the distance. If you go to 8-to-1, 1, it's more than you need for the Cunningham on the blaze, and 2, there's not enough room to get your full range of travel. So that lets me do it. Moving back then, this boat came with these extra long tramps fitted to it, which worked great. I had netting on 807, which in some ways was better because there was no holes, but then on the other hand things used to get caught in it and it needed a little bit of maintenance, things needed tying onto it. This long tramp works great, to be honest. I've skipped over a bit here. My control lines, one of the things that I learnt from 807 had these blocks of wood on the foredeck, which looked a bit ugly and I was going to take them off, but actually worked brilliantly because by raising the control lines up and spreading them apart, you just get, like we're just sitting here and these control lines are a nice sensible hand width apart. It's very easy to grab whichever one I want. Works brilliantly. So on this boat I managed to get hold of some of this. It looks like it's about the same size as square section guttering tube tape, but it's much thicker, much stronger. I've still got some left actually if anyone wants a piece. It came in a big length, but so maybe contact me. But the beauty of this is it's in keeping with the rules, because there's a rule now apparently that the cleats all have to be within 100mm of the edge of the cockpit, and on 807 they're across the deck over here. So it's in keeping with the rules. It uses all the normal holes, so hence the big ugly hole there, so I can get to the screws there. So it's where the normal cleats were screwed down. This is now screwed on, but it lets me raise them up, spread them apart, and I haven't had to drill any holes to do it. So so it works really well. So while we're at it then, the outside line is my cunning line, which goes through a 2-to-1 elastic take up here, which I then just tie off on the front of the wing. And that elastic is just going down through these eyes, which I've stitched into the tramp, and then comes back, goes round, back up to the other side. So it's a nice long piece of elastic, never runs out of tension, and just maintains keeps the slack out of the line. Blue line then is the kicker, through the next cleat, through the next eye on the tramp, but the same 2-to-1 elastic take up system. And then my centerboard I have on the last line, which is just floating. I have a cleat, I've left one of the cleats on the deck so I can cleat that off, as I've done on the other side if I need to. But it's simple uphaul on that block. When the so when the centerboard's down, this line's over here, and if I pull this rope, it comes as far as the block and stops, and that's just the right amount that I want. It pulls the ball up just the right amount for the sort of the runs, so I can't pull it up too far. Something I did in 807 works really well. Hopefully you can hear this. It's a bit of a breezy day, so there's not much I can do about that. So sticking with the centerboard, I have another line on it, which is this line here. Which is a kind of a 2-to-1 downhaul rope. Not perfect at the moment, kind of a work in progress, but works okay. I like to be able to pull my boards up and down from wherever, so works fine. Another thing that's work in progress, if I come around the other side, you'll see it a bit better. Odd bit of rope tied to where the main sheet point is on my boat, which actually I don't hook my main sheet onto the kicker, which is the normal thing. I like it further forward, or further back, sorry, closer to where I'm sitting, so that when I'm hiking hard and I can hang off the main sheet, it's kind of helping support my weight. Anyway, extra bit of rope, tie to that, goes forward, through just a bit of elastic, and then back to the other side. And then when I get to one of those windy jibes, I can't rely on it just flicking across, I grab that, the elastic comes out, and I've got enough rope there to now act as a jibing strop to help pull the boom over. I only did it I don't know, a month ago, and I've used it a couple of times, and it seems to work okay. So I'm going to come up with something a bit neater than my piece of elastic that's effectively just going round the mast, while I've got it tied onto the clue on the only point I could find. But like I say, work in progress, but seems to work okay so far. I don't like the normal way of putting jibing strop in, is to have something just hanging off the main sheet. And I always find it always gets tangled up, and I can't reach it when I want it, and I don't like it. Anyway, early days, but it seems to work okay. I think I'm going to have to stop this fairly soon, the wind's getting up. So we move to the back. So obviously I have off the boom sheeting. I've off the boom sheeting. My block floating here is just literally, it's an Allen block spinning on its arm, just because there, so it grabs. Anything, when you put a block on the end of the block, which is the nice thing to do, you sheet in on the lightning days and it just moves to the middle into the middle of the boat, which you don't want. So I just let mine drag across like that. Other things to mention, I cut I don't know what it is, 3 or 4 inches off the end of my tiller, because I don't like the tiller being too long, gets in the way of the cockpit, especially when I'm on a reach, brings it back. I've also got this off of eBay. You can probably see that. Rizzo Racing. It was the cheapest carbon fibre tiller extension I could find on eBay. It was only 30 quid or something, 35 quid or something, but with the postage it came to 50 or so. But it's really light, nice bit of carbon fibre. It's got a bit of rope running down it, so if I do happen to break it, A, I'll get both bits, and B, there's half a chance I might sail it back. And so far it's been brilliant. It's really good. So I don't know how strong it's going to prove to be, because it feels so light, but so far anyway, I'd recommend it. It's good if you're in the market for a cheap tiller extension. My boat came with, from the previous owner, these rooster padded toe straps, which are very nice. I had them on my first Blade 702, but comfortable, but don't make that much great a difference. I did a recent modification to my rudder, where I've effectively, I don't know if you can see that, I've moved the pivot point's the same place in the board, but I've drilled a new hole in the stock to move the pivot further up and further forward, for 2 reasons. One is, when it was down, this square part of the rudder stock was hanging so low against the transom that the water that's curling up there was hitting that rudder stock, and you get a little rooster tail of water off it, which was just distracting apart from anything else, and I guess can't be quick. But the other thing is the rudder was angled too far forwards. It felt really light and it felt really nice, but it was kind of too light. It didn't give you any kind of feedback on them. Whoops. It didn't give you any feedback on what was actually going on. So there you go. I've taken the rudder off. Don't know if you can see that. Stand back a bit. It's still angled just a tiny bit forwards, but not too much. And now the square part of the blade disappears inside the stock. It wakes up the helm a little bit, but not too much. But you get so much more feedback from the boat, from the helm, and you're not distracted by this rooster tail of water coming off the back. But I've now found the boat's a much nicer boat to sail with, going quicker, and just those small changes really should make effect. Take effect. So, yeah. The sun's going in there as well, just to make it. One other very obvious change, you should probably notice. This is the Hyde copy sail, which Mike's not going to thank me for showing, but I have to say, if you're serious about your blade sailing, or I think, to be honest, if you want the ultimate performance, you still want the North sail. It's a great sail. I've got the carbon mast and it fits on the carbon mast brilliantly. I really like it. But if you've got an old boat, and let's face it, if your boat's only worth 1,500 quid, it's hard to justify spending £700-800 on just a sail, especially if you're just club racing. This Hyde sail's nearly half that price, and although, like I say, you could argue it's not as good, although I still get good results with it here. It's hard to see much difference. It makes a lot more sense for just club racing. You need to check obviously with your club that they're going to allow it, because technically speaking it's not a class legal sail. But here at Wilsonians they let the sort of laser pattern sails use, and we've got a few people here using these Hydes now at the club, and no one complains. This one's probably 2 years old now, and you see on this windy day, but still takes a lovely shape. And Stuart at Advantage Sailing recently did a kind of a batten upgrade on the sail. So if you had one of the very first ones and haven't heard from Stuart, you might want to talk to him. But the new battens make a big difference, and it's really good. So you want to do the nationals, you want the best performance, you're still going to buy a North. But if you're just club sailing, you've got a cheap boat, it's hard, can't justify the money of a new North sail. And let's face it, second-hand ones never come up very often, and when they do, they're either worn out or they're snatched straight away. Snatched up straight away. Then take a look at the Hyde. I think it's good. Other than that, that's about my boat. I mean, a blaze is a blaze to some extent, but I've been fiddling with this to get it working, and it's now going really well. Really pleased with it. Still plenty of things to do to do this, but the winter's for, isn't it? So anyway, happy sailing everyone.